Archangel Michael gave a final emergency warning about someone you haven't thought about in years. In the quiet hour, the hour when the veil is thinnest, and heaven speaks in whispers, a name emerged from the stillness. A name you have not spoken in years. A name long buried beneath layers of memory and time. And in that silence, Archangel Michael stepped forward. Not in thunder, not in flame, but in divine solemnity, with a final warning that could not wait. This was no ordinary hour. This was a divine hour, a sacred space carved out not by your effort, but by divine orchestration. The world around you was still, your spirit open, and in that precise moment, heaven chose to speak, because you were ready to hear what others would ignore. This name, it came not just to visit your thoughts, but to stir your spirit. And Archangel Michael was sent, not to comfort, but to alert. Hear this now. They thought they were forgotten. They thought time erased their presence, their actions, their shadows in your life. But heaven does not forget what the earth buries. Heaven does not lose track of unfinished battles. What you moved past, heaven kept record of. And now, at the appointed time, that record hath been opened. This message is not for all. It is not for the busy. It is not for the distracted. It is not for the spiritually asleep. This message is for the watchmen, for the spiritually alert, for those who feel a stirring in their belly and know something is shifting in the unseen. If that is you, if your heart is racing and your mind is already trying to make sense of this, then listen closely. This message has come to you by divine dispatch. You were still so you could hear. You were quiet so you could sense. And now you must understand, the time to remember is now. This is the one you buried deep, the one who vanished in a season of chaos or confusion, the one you thought heaven had moved past. But heaven did not forget. Heaven did not abandon what your soul could not yet finish. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. Heed this now. For Archangel Michael does not appear without cause. He does not step through the veil of eternity without divine assignment. And when he descends, it is not for conversation. It is for confrontation. He has not come to comfort, but to warn. His message carries divine urgency. It carries weight in the spirit. And it was not meant for the masses. It was meant for you. Before this week ends, yes, before the calendar completes its course, the name will return. It will surface not in the way you expect, but in the way heaven has appointed. It may come through a whisper in a dream, a stranger's voice that startles your spirit, or a sudden thought that grips your heart without permission. The name will rise. It will shake the stillness of your soul, not to torment, but to awaken, not to confuse, but to prepare. You have not been emotionally numb without reason. Heaven has kept you preserved. You have not been distant, cold, or hardened. You've been guarded, hidden, sealed, set apart for such a time as this. There is a holy stirring happening now. And while the world scrolls, sleeps, and silences divine interruption, you have been chosen to feel what others overlook. You were chosen to see what others ignore. You were chosen to sense the shift in the spiritual atmosphere. You were chosen, not because you are the loudest, not because you are the strongest, but because you are awake. And now, that sensitivity is your strength. What once made you feel weak, exposed, and overwhelmed, now becomes your advantage. The reason the name stirs now is because heaven needs your discernment, not your reaction. This message was delaying on purpose. Had it come earlier, you would have tried to fix something that heaven severed. You would have right toward reconciliation when God was calling for redirection. But now that your emotions no longer guide you, heaven is free to speak. And Archangel Michael has waited until this moment, until this posture of stillness, to step forward and say, "Prepare. What you buried is rising. What you silenced must now be confronted, not by mouth, but by spirit." And yes, you feel it. A spiritual disturbance, internal trembling, the invisible weight that presses down on your sleep and colors your thoughts. You feel eyes on you though no one is near. You hear echoes of a name you never speak. Your dreams are blurred with images of the past. This is not nostalgia. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment. You are not imagining things. You are not being dramatic. You are not unstable. You are spiritually alive. And that aliveness, that awakened spirit, is being summoned now to a posture of alertness. Heaven is signaling. The angelic realm is shifting. The spirit is positioning you, because something is being released, and you must not miss it. You've always felt deeper. You've always carried a sensitivity others didn't understand. And while they called it weakness, heaven called it awareness. Now, that awareness must rise. You are not here to feel for the sake of pain. You are here to perceive for the sake of purpose. Because the name that's returning is not just a person. It is an assignment. An assignment that must be passed, not embraced. So pause. Listen. Recognize what is moving. This is not random. This is not emotional fallout. This is spiritual realignment. And Archangel Michael comes with sword drawn, not against flesh, but against the invisible manipulations of darkness. Because the enemy you once entertained is seeking a door. But heaven is here to remind you, the door is sealed. The door is protected. You are not vulnerable. You are not prey. You are protected. And as this name returns, through sound, memory, or physical encounter, do not react. Do not panic. Do not reach back. This is not a chance for resolution. This is a test of your evolution. This is not a call for reunion. This is a signal of divine recognition. You are no longer who you were when they left. And this name, this warning, this divine message, is proof that heaven has remembered the part of your story that earth forgot. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. You've been seeing strange signs, haven't you? Flickers in the corner of your eye. Shadows that vanish before you can focus. Sudden thoughts of someone you haven't named aloud in years. Unexplainable moments that seem trivial to others, but shake your core. This is not superstition. This is not imagination. This is a spiritual disruption. And it is not coming from you. It is coming toward you. The dreams have been different lately. Faces you forgot. Places you haven't walked in years. Sounds you haven't heard since that season ended. The past is knocking, not with nostalgia, but with purpose. Because someone is speaking of you in your absence. Someone has pulled on your name in the realm of spirit. Someone who carries what was left unfinished, the apology never spoken, the closure never granted, the truth never admitted. And heaven has heard it. I carry the unfinished. I carry the unspoken. Their spirit is restless, because they never completed the cycle they started in you. You moved on, but they stayed tethered to a moment, a memory, a version of you that no longer exists. And now, the spiritual cord that once connected you stirs again. Not to reunite, but to test it. to see if you still bleed from the same wound. This isn't just emotional. This is soul deep. You've been feeling regret that doesn't belong to you. You've been burdened by heaviness that has no origin in your current life. That's because it's not coming from you. It's coming toward you. You are discerning a restlessness. You are feeling the vibration of their unresolved spirit, the spiritual echoes of their guilt, their pride, their confusion, reaching for you like a ripple in still water. There is a reason this connection was bearing, a reason your soul chose silence, a reason heaven did not allow them access to you in prior seasons. But the time has come where they are trying to resurface, not just in flesh but in frequency. And the strange signs, the repeated patterns, the familiar confusion returning like a whisper. That's how the spirit realm speaks before the door of reality is knocked on. Yes, this may have been someone who betrayed you, someone who manipulated your trust, someone who left you fractured or drained or lost. You don't think of them because you can't. You don't revisit that chapter unless something drags you back. And now something has. Your name isn't just resurfacing. Your spirit is reaching. And Archangel Michael stands in defense. But you must be alert. You forgot them, but heaven did not. You released it, but heaven still records every injustice, every silent tear, every quiet prayer. And the return is not to punish you. It is to elevate you. It is to prove that you had healed, truly. But in that proof lies danger. For if you mistake the spiritual test for emotional invitation, you may undo what grace has preserved. This disruption is not accidental. It is spiritual confirmation. You have stepped into a new season, and as you ascend, the shadows of old try to climb. But they cannot follow where God is taking you. So now, the disturbance increases. So now, your spirit feels chaotic. So now, the strange becomes normal. All because a gate is shaking, and you must be the one to keep it closed. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 333 is now surrounding you. This is not emotional fallout. This is not just memory. This is not the return of what if. This is spiritual warfare. Pure, intentional, strategic. What you are experiencing is not sentimental. It is supernatural. Heaven does not summon warriors for conversation. It summons them for clarity. And Archangel Michael comes bearing a sword, not to strike your enemy, but to reveal the hidden war behind their return. The bond you once had, it wasn't just a connection. It was a spiritual entanglement. You thought they wanted healing. You thought they wanted honesty. But heaven now reveals the truth. They did want restoration. They wanted access. They were drawn to your energy, your purity, your light, not to guard it, but to feed on it, to use it, to drain it. And once you were empty, they walked away without looking back. This is why the connection was spiritually severed, not emotionally, not intellectually, but spiritually. Heaven stepped in when you couldn't. The silence you've lived with wasn't abandonment, it was protection. Divine boundaries were established so your soul could heal without their interference. You thought the distance was punishment, but it was actually deliverance. Because if they stayed, you would have kept bleeding. And now they are back, not in person, but in presence. Their spirit is knocking. Their words are forming. Their thoughts are reaching. But this is not reunion. This is divine testing. God is proving what you've overcome. Heaven is verifying your deliverance. The enemy is checking if the door still opens. But you are not who you were. The threshold has changed. You have changed you. The conflict is not with them. The conflict is with the past they represent, with the lies you once believed, with the need you once felt to be chosen by someone who was never sent by God. That need is dead now. That ache has healed. That void hath been filled by something divine. And because of that, heaven is watching your response. Do not be fooled by their tone, by their sudden humility, by their unexpected sophists. It is not transformation, it is tactic. The enemy always returns wrapped in what looks like closure. But closure without confrontation is manipulation. And you owe them nothing. Not a reply. Not an explanation. Not a conversation. This is the moment heaven uses silence as a weapon. Because your silence now is not passivity. It is power. God steps back when your silence becomes strength. When your refusal to engage becomes obedience. When you protect your peace at the cost of pleasing no one but God. This is about what your soul overcame. This is about the you that never got closure, but healed anyway. This is about the version of you that didn't get answers, but found identity in Christ instead. And heaven saw all of it. Every moment, every battle, every prayer, every night you stayed silent while your soul screamed. Now the test returns, and it looks familiar, but don't be fooled. It's not coming to fix anything, it's coming to find a weakness. But this time, there is none. Type I am anointed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1144 is now activated. Listen now, for Archangel Michael stands watch. His sword is raised not to strike blindly, but to alert. In the realm of spirit, time is thinning. The hours are not just passing, they are counting down. And within the next 72 hours, you will hear them. You will feel them. Their name will return, not just in memory but in motion. Not just in thought but in form. They are moving. They are approaching. And heaven wants you prepared, not surprised. His moment will appear normal. An innocent message. A missed call. A tagged post. A "Hey, how have you been?" It meant something more sinister beneath its surface. It will look ordinary. It will sound familiar. But it will carry the fingerprints of spiritual warfare. You must discern. You must see beyond the surface. Because this is not about conversation. It is about containment. The goal is not to talk to them. The goal is to resist the opening of a door that heaven sealed for your sake. Pressure is rising in the unseen realm. Angels are in position. You felt it. The strange anxiety without explanation. The fatigue that isn't physical. The shifting atmosphere around your home. That's because in the spirit, movement has begun. They are being stirred. Not by repentance. Not by healing. But by manipulation. By strategy. By the unseen forces that used them before and seek to use them again. Hear this clearly. They remember who you were, not who you are. They are coming back for the version of you that tolerated pain in silence. The version of you that craved closure. For the version of you that longed to be chosen, even if it meant losing yourself. But that version of you no longer exists. Heaven has upgraded your identity. God has sealed your transformation. You are no longer accessible on that level. And yet, their reach will come. It must. Because heaven has permitted this moment to test the gates. Not to hurt you, but to prove your strength. Not to weaken you, but to validate your growth. But make no mistake, it will not feel like a test. It will feel like confusion. It will feel like temptation. It will feel like a soft pull on old heartstrings. That is where the danger lies. Do not be flattered. Be prepared. Do not take this as honor. Take it as warning. Their return is not an acknowledgement of your value. It is a signal of your vulnerability. They see what you carry. I feel what you've become. And they want to re-enter, not to build but to blur. Not to support, but to distract. You will be tested not in the moment of contact, but in the moments that follow. When your heart replays the interaction. When your mind entertains what-ifs. When your emotions flood with old memories and imagined conversations. That's the true battle. The test is not the text, it's the temptation to respond. But containment is your assignment. Resist the urge to explain. Resist the need to revisit. Guide the gates. This is not a punishment. This is a final pass, a heavenly evaluation. And Archangel Michael stands between you and the old spirit seeking re-entry. But he cannot block what you open. Heaven can only protect what you refuse to engage. So stay in your sacred space. Stay hidden in obedience. Let your silence be your sword. Let your stillness be your shield. Because in this moment, noise is a trap. You are being watched, not just by them but by heaven. How you respond now will shape what is unlocked next. What you say, or don't say, in the next 72 hours will either protect your progress or permit a setback. And you've come too far to stumble. You healed too deeply to bleed again. Type I am sealed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1777 is now activated. Be still. Heaven guards what it transforms. You do not have to defend your silence. You do not have to explain your distance. You do not need to justify your discernment. You are not ignoring them. You are honoring your He. And in this season, silence is not weakness. Silence is a weapon. Stillness is a shield. And heaven is commanding you, do not respond. There is a sacred hush around your life right now. The angels are encamping. The Spirit is surrounding. And every word you speak could either build your wall or break it. So let your quiet speak. Let your stillness thunder. Let your restraint roar louder than any argument you could ever win. You do not need to answer questions that were never asked with honesty. You do not need to revisit rooms that heaven has cleansed. Heaven is watching who you respond to. Every voice pulling on you right now is not authorized. Every message is not divine. Every knock on your soul is not holy. Discernment is your survival. Obedience is your strategy. Stillness is your safety. Because what the enemy cannot destroy, he tries to distract. But you will not be moved. Do not rush. Do not explain. Do not retaliate. Do not re-engage. You've been prepared for this moment through months, perhaps years, of spiritual training. The moments when you cried in silence. The nights you prayed for peace. The countless times you chose solitude over drama. That was preparation. That was strengthening. That was the quiet build-up to the stillness you now carry. And in this stillness, heaven speaks. In this quiet, God defends. You are not alone. You are not exposed. You are not vulnerable. You are sealed. You are watched. You are covered. Every breath you take in peace now is protected by a host of angels who stand guard over your obedience. Not because you're afraid, but because you finally understand your worth. Begin to declare this now. I am sealed. I am safe. I am chosen. I am unmoved. Let these affirmations guard your mind. Let them become your spiritual armor. When the enemy tries to whisper guilt or shame or false compassion, speak your truth. Say nothing to them but everything to heaven. Sacred solitude is your strength. Prayer is your preparation. Listening is your armor. The less you say to them, the more you'll hear from God. The more you retreat into divine stillness, the more you'll receive divine strategy. And this moment, right now, is not about them. It's not about proving anything. It's not about closure or conversation. This moment is about you. Heaven didn't allow them back in for reunion. Heaven allowed this encounter to reveal your revelation, to show you, and them, that you are no longer reachable by manipulation, no longer accessible through guilt, no longer controllable through nostalgia. Protect this moment. Guard your gates. You are not being cold, you are being called. You are not distancing, you are discerning. And as you stay still, the Spirit of God is moving. Angels are shielding. Heaven is sealing. And your obedience is the alarm system that keeps the darkness out. Let your posture now be your loudest prayer. Stillness. No reply. No reach back. No second guessing. Because heaven is louder than your history. Type "I am protected" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1881 is now encircling you. You are not the wounded anymore, you are wise. You are not bleeding. You are building. You are not broken. You are becoming. And the very things that once drained you now empower you. What once silenced you now fuels you. What once tried to destroy you now proves your elevation. And Archangel Michael stands not just to warn, but to affirm. You have shifted. You have risen. You are no longer their version of you. You don't speak the same. You don't feel the same. You don't crave the same connections. That is not pride. That is progress. That is not arrogance. That is ascension. What they remember about you is no longer real. What they expected you to stay in, you've outgrown. And the name that returns now does not deserve to greet the upgraded version of your soul. Your discernment has increased. Your perception has sharpened. And now, what once confused you only confirms your growth. You can feel their spiritual fingerprints before they even knock. You can sense the hidden motives behind the friendly gestures. And that is because you are flying on forged wings. Wings not given but earned. Earned through fire, through trial, through seasons where you had no one but heaven, and nothing but faith. They thought you'd stay broken. They thought time would make you forget. They thought absence would breed longing. But heaven worked differently. Heaven used absence to create anointing. Heaven used silence to produce discernment. Heaven used betrayal to build boldness. And you, beloved, are the product of divine refinement. This is the season of spiritual separation, of holy distinction, of elevation that cannot be reversed, and that elevation intimidates their familiarity. Your presence now disrupts their comfort. Your silence now exposes their agenda, because you no longer validate the version of them that could manipulate the old you. They are not returning for closure. They are returning for control. They do not seek truth. They seek influence. And heaven is exposing it. You will see it in their language, vague apologies that don't carry repentance, compliments that feel rehearsed, sentences that loop without depth, all surface, all shadow, no substance. And your spirit will know. You no longer answer from pain. You respond from purpose. You don't react to triggers. You recognize them. You don't beg to be understood. You rest in being chosen. And this shift terrifies the one who used to hold pieces of your broken self. Because now you are whole, and they don't know how to control wholeness. You must own this identity shift, not with arrogance but with awareness. Heaven has redefined you, and heaven is calling you to stand tall in your transformation. This is not the time to regress. This is not the time to second-guess your strength. You must walk boldly. You must move differently. You must operate as one who has passed through fire and emerged as gold. So speak it now. I am no longer accessible. I am no longer broken. I am no longer their echo. I am God's voice. Let this be the anthem of your spirit. Let this be the banner over your life. Because when they see you again, whether in person or from afar, they will see the glory of God over you. And they will know what they left behind has been reborn in divine power. Type I am transformed in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1919 is now activated over your destiny. This is not random. This is not out of season. This is not a coincidence. Their resurfacing is part of divine strategy. Their reappearance activates your next season. You could not move forward until this shadow tried to return. You could not ascend into your full authority until you had the opportunity to respond differently, not emotionally, but prophetically. Understand this truth. God did allow them to find you until now for a reason. You were hidden. You were protected. You were kept under spiritual lock and key. Not because you weren't ready, but because your assignment was still being sharpened. Because your identity was still being forged. And now, the veil has lifted just enough for heaven to show you. You've passed the test in silence. You didn't retaliate. You didn't chase. You did reply. You let heaven speak while you stayed still. And now heaven says, reward. The reward is not material. It's spiritual. It's divine clarity. It's the peace that surpasses understanding. It's the anointing that cannot be counterfeited. And it begins the moment you recognize this resurfacing as prophecy in motion. They are not coming back to reconcile. They are coming because something in their spirit senses your elevation. Your name has reached the heavens again, not in pain, but in praise. And that praise has disturbed the realm of darkness. The enemy cannot touch you, so he sends what used to tempt you. He sends what you once prayed for, but through a corrupted vessel. Heaven sees your obedience. Heaven recognizes your restraint. Heaven honors your quiet victories. And now comes divine promotion. You've passed the test in silence. Now comes the visibility of reward. Now comes the unlocking of doors. Now comes the alignment of purpose. This moment is not about them. This moment is about what heaven is releasing to you because of how you handled them. This is your shift. This is your moment. This is the prophetic hour where the gate opens. Not for that, but for you. This is not about love lost. This is about power gained. This is about God trusting you with more, because you didn't betray His silence, because you didn't cheapen your calling for human attention, because you let your anointing speak louder than your emotions. Now comes the revelation of destiny. Now comes the exposure of favor. The shadow has returned, but it no longer has access. And in its place light will flood your path. Archangel Michael stands before you, sword lowered, not in defense, but in declaration. You are cleared for promotion. You are cleared to rise. You are cleared to walk through the gate that only opened when the test was passed. This moment is sacred. Don't trivialize it. Don't dilute it with doubt. Receive it. Own it. Declare it. Let heaven hear your agreement. Let the Spirit echo your yes. Because your yes now is not just agreement, it is activation. And once you activate, no force in hell or earth can reverse it. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe for prophetic messages that protect, prepare, and position you for everything God has promised. Type ISAYYES to Destiny in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing Code 2020 is now initiating your next chapter. Say yes to the next level. It begins with a sacred no. A no to distractions. A no to spiritual detours. A no to recycled pain dressed in new language. Heaven is waiting for your no, because your no is not rejection. Your no is redirection. Your no is a sword in the spirit. It is a seal over your destiny. And now, Archangel Michael says, the gate won't open until your mouth does. This is the divine moment where your decisions either unlock alignment or prolong delay. You waited. You healed. You grown. But none of it manifests until you decide. Destiny responds to clarity. Heaven aligns with a heart that declares its own truth. This is not about shouting into the void. This is about proclaiming in the Spirit, I will not return to the version of me that needed to be validated by broken people. Your yes must be clean. Pure. It cannot be entangled with nostalgia. It cannot be poisoned with people bleeding. It cannot be diluted by fear. Your destiny is allergic to double-mindedness. You must say yes with full alignment, body, mind, and spirit. And that yes begins in silence. That yes begins in your journal, in your prayer time, in your decision to disengage from drama. Write the declaration. Speak it aloud. Whisper it until your spirit trembles. I say yes to obedience. I say yes to elevation. I say yes to being misunderstood if it means I remain protected. I say yes to the cost of clarity. And in that yes, heaven will respond. In that yes, angels will be dispatched. In that yes, doors will unlock that were never moved by begging or striving, only by alignment. You do not have to go back to prove your worth. You do not have to lower your volume to be accepted by people who never listen. You do not have to shrink your light to fit back into a room God shut down. The return of their name is not an invitation to revisit the past. It's an instruction to redefine your future. Destiny is not a random breakthrough. It is the harvest of obedience. And your obedience hath been seen. Heaven recorded the nights you chose not to reply. The mornings you cried but still chose to trust. The days you walked past familiar temptations and said nothing. You were remembered in divine records, not for what you gained, but for what you gave up to protect your assignment. Courage looks like walking away when everything in you wants one last conversation. Strength looks like silence when your flesh wants explanation. Power looks like restraint when you've been provoked. And heaven calls that obedience. Not loud, not visible, but holy, sacred, remembered. And now the reward is not just coming, it's being unlocked by you. There is a spiritual portal opening now, a gate through which destiny flows freely. But it's voice activated, it's heart activated. It waits for your yes. Not just any yes, but a yes rooted in truth, rooted in surrender, rooted in identity. This is not just about promotion. It's about position. Where you stand now determines what you will receive next. So draw the line. Make the choice. Heaven cannot bless indecision. And Archangel Michael stands at the gate, waiting for your agreement. He will war for you. He will defend you. But only you can choose the direction of your next season. Type ISAYYES to Destiny in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2323 has now been activated in your favor. You think nothing happened. You think it was just a thought. Just a passing dream. Just a random name that came and went. But heaven saw the exchange. Archangel Michael witnessed the transaction. You didn't just remember. You engaged in the spirit. A moment the nay returned. A gate opened. And what happened next, though unseen, was sacred. There are transactions in the spirit that require no words, no gestures, no evidence. Just obedience. Just positioning. And when that name reappeared in your mind, when your heart skipped, when your chest tightened, when your peace momentarily trembled, you didn't realize it, but you were standing in a courtroom. Heaven opened your file. The enemy presented his case, and your silence became your testimony. The name came back for a reason, not to torment, but to testify, not to bring pain, but to activate power. It was a signal in the spirit realm, a coded message from heaven to see what you would do with what once controlled you. And your lack of reaction, that sacred stillness, was a spiritual no. A no that shut doors in realms you've never seen. A no that broke soul ties you forgot existed. A no that healed dimensions of you didn't know were fractured. Heaven responded instantly. There was no delay. Angels moved in the background. The cords were cut. The atmosphere shifted. The chains were shattered. And though no one saw it with their eyes, the spirit world celebrated it with thunder. You passed a silent test. And because of that, you are now receiving a silent promotion. What you thought was stolen is returning, purified. What you thought was wasted is being restored, reformed. God has taken what was once contaminated and sent it through fire, and now he returns it to you as favor, as insight, as discernment, as authority. You did not lose that season, you sowed it. You sowed it in tears. You sowed it in obedience. And now, the harvest is being reaped. There is angelic activity behind closed doors. Do not be deceived by what looks still. Heaven is not idle. The spirit realm is alive. The divine is busy. And while you rest, heaven builds. While you pray, angels protect. While you stay quiet, Michael wars for what belongs to you. And no word of yours has been wasted. Your weeping was worship. Your pain was prophecy. Your silence was warfare. And heaven has recorded every moment, every exchange, every tremble in your spirit. You are not crazy. You are not overthinking. You are spiritually tuned. You are being trusted. You are being shaped by sacred whispers. You've been waking up in the middle of the night because your spirit knows something shifted. That was not insomnia. That was visitation. That was revelation knocking at your door. Heaven interrupted your sleep to confirm your spirit's authority. And though the world around you saw nothing, the heavens saw victory. What was stolen is being returned purified. What was withheld is being released glorified. And the version of you that walks forward now is no longer broken, no longer burdened, no longer bound. You stepped into something holy. You've crossed into something sovereign. And you didn't have to scream to get it. You just had to stay silent and trust the war you couldn't see. Type "I am victorious" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 2442 is now reigning over your life. You have been silent. You have been still. You have carried injustice in the sacred chambers of your heart, waiting for heaven to speak where earth refused to listen. But now, the heavens are no longer silent. Now, the scroll of justice is being opened. And now, what they said in secret will be seen in public. Not to shame, not to embarrass, but to restore what was silenced. Heaven is not unaware. Heaven is not passive. Heaven is not delayed. It is deliberate. Justice in the kingdom is not bound to human timelines. It operates in divine timing. And Archangel Michael now declares, the hour of reversal has come. Every lie whispered about you will be exposed. Every action taken against you in darkness will be judged by light. Every betrayal that lingered without consequence is now subject to divine review. This reversal is not revenge. It is restoration. God does not operate in the spirit of retaliation. He operates in the fullness of righteousness. And righteousness restores. Righteousness rebuilds. Righteousness lifts what was torn down. And while others thought you had lost, heaven was preparing a divine unveiling. What was buried under their gossip will now be raised in God's glory. You lose nothing in obedience, only illusions. The illusion of needing their approval. The illusion of requiring their validation. The illusion that justice would never come. But heaven sees all. Heaven hears all. Heaven records all. And now the records are being unsealed. The divine courtroom has been convened. And the verdict is not against you. It is for you. Those who tried to bury your name will now watch God bless it. Those who mocked your silence will now witness your emergence. Those who misunderstood your discernment will now behold your divine elevation. You do not need to fight for your name. Heaven is doing it for you. You do not need to campaign for your truth. God is revealing it without your effort. This is not your doing. This is God's hand. The same hand that shielded you in silence is now the hand that will lift you into visibility. Not for fame, not for applause, but for honor, divine honor, heavenly recompense. And this time, no one can take credit. This time, no one can block it. This time, your vindication comes from the throne itself. Let your heart rest now. Let your soul exhale. The tables are turning. The records are being corrected. The divine ledger is balanced. And what you thought was wasted time is being returned as multiplied favor. Nothing is lost in the kingdom. Nothing disappears in obedience. What felt like subtraction was only set up for supernatural supply. Justice was never denied. It was hidden. Hidden until your heart healed. Hidden until your motives were purified. Hidden until you no longer needed validation to walk in vision. And now, because you passed the test, because you stayed in position, heaven is releasing the reversal. Let this be your decree. I am not forgotten. I am not forsaken. I am divinely remembered and supernaturally restored. Say it until your spirit believes it. Say it until the shame dissolves. Say it until you feel the shift breaking through your atmosphere. Because it's here. It's now. The reversal is manifesting, not because of what they did, but because of what you didn't do. You didn't fight dirty. You didn't beg. You didn't chase. You didn't compromise your integrity. You stood. You wept in silence. You obeyed without applause. And now, heaven is honoring you publicly for what you carried privately. If this message resonates with you and you feel moved to support, consider giving a super thanks with contributions of up to $5. Your kindness helps us bring more powerful content your way. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. Don't forget to subscribe to receive more messages that confirm your calling, protect your peace, and prophetically lead you to your next level. Type "I am restored" in the comments if you receive this message. Lesson code 2552 is now breaking forth over your life. Now hear this, and let it rest in your spirit like a holy seal. You are being remembered. Not by people, but by purpose. Not by the past, but by promise. The heavens have not overlooked your tears. The angels have not ignored your obedience. The Spirit of God has not bypassed your battle. You are seen. You are chosen. You are being remembered. There is a sacred turning in your life, a divine wind that is shifting the atmosphere. What was closed is opening. What was withheld is releasing. What was delayed is being delivered. And the name that once returned as a warning has now served its full purpose. You were tested. You stood firm. And now heaven is ready to honor you openly. Every decision you made to stay silent is being counted. Every time you wanted to lash out but chose stillness, recorded. Every moment you could have chased closure but chose Christ, remembered. Heaven watches over the faithful, and you, beloved, are counted among them. You are not haunted. You are healed. You are not fractured. You are fortified. The name no longer carries pain. The season no longer holds power. The wound is now wisdom. And from this place of divine recovery, you are being released, sent into your next assignment. Walk forward now, not as the broken but as the bold, not as the forgotten but as the favored, not as the silenced but as the sealed. Archangel Michael goes before you. The angels stand behind you, and God's word surrounds you. There is nothing left to prove. There is only purpose left to pursue. Let these final affirmations rise within your soul. I am sealed by divine purpose. I am seen by heaven's eyes. I am sent with authority into my new season. I am no longer bound by names that heaven has erased. This is your heavenly charge. Rise now. Rise not just in position, but in posture. Walk with a lifted head. Speak with the confidence of the called. Move with the fire of the anointed. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is your final confirmation that everything that was taken is returning sevenfold. Walk boldly. Speak carefully. Guard your gates. And carry this truth always. Heaven remembers. Heaven rewards. Heaven restores. Type "I am sealed," seen, and sent in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2666 is now flowing into your atmosphere.